Thank you, everyone, for joining our producer class.
Well, what I run into often, Michael, is that people say, well, I'm going to shoot my trailer. I'm going to shoot interviews and some things I need for my trailer today. And I hope I get what I want. And when they say that, I think you have to know what you want and you have to plan to get it. So I would like you to share with us how to start your trailer, because it starts with the pre-planning, knowing you're going to interview someone and knowing what sound bites you need to move your film trailer forward, right? So
100.
start
Yes,
there.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, Carol, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. Let's start right there. How do you plan when you're going to shoot your trailer? Let's say you're a documentary filmmaker and you're shooting and it's an interview and you need to get certain answers. How do you plan that?
I want to know as much about my subject as possible. I want to do, but even before I get to talking about the interviewing the subject, I want to get as clear about the story that I'm trying to tell. I want to be clear. What am I trying to say? What do I need to communicate? What is it that my audience needs to know? And how will this person facilitate that? Can they tell a good story? Because, Carol, we've talked about this before. Good interviews don't make good trailers. Good stories make good trailers. And so you might have someone who can deliver the facts, but can they tell you a compelling story? And so I think there's a real opportunity there. First, in your own your own treatments, your own pitch decks, whatever it may be, to start getting clarity there. And then when you're going to your interview subjects, now you know what you're trying to get them to say. But then I would say take it a step further. They may have, if you're interested in them, it's possible they've been interviewed before for something, or they appear somewhere for something. You also have an opportunity to do pre-interviews. You could do interviews by phone and really get a sense of how they communicate, how they're going to what their style and what their vibe is, and what their vibe is, right? So you have a sense of, and you still want to be surprised, but I think there's a level of prep. The more intentional and the more prepared you are, the more you allow for magic and for kind of to be supported by whatever that idea or the impulse of the project itself is.
The magic. You want to bring the magic in, right? Exactly. And I think that once you know what the story is for your trailer, you may have to ask the same question 2 or 3 times to elicit the answer you want. But don't be afraid. Just keep asking from different angles until you get that answer, right?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not afraid to lead my subject. If I know what I want and I know what I need, then I'll pepper in the answer that I want. I'll pepper into the question, or not the answer that I want, but what I want them to communicate. I don't want to put words in someone's mouth, but if I can, ask leading questions and kind of work some of that language into it. And then, like you said, Carol, you may not get that answer the first time. Another thing, and this, since this is a producer workshop, I find in interviewing subjects, you got to warm them up sometimes. And so, those first, don't come out firing with your most important questions in those first 10 or 15 minutes. You really want to, maybe not come out in those first 5 minutes with it. You don't know how much time you have them for, but get curious, let them get comfortable. And then you can kind of, if you're clear what you want, you didn't get it, and then you can circle back at the end of the interview. You can ask it again. You can ask it a different way. So yeah, be kind of tenacious when you know what you need. But then, I've also had this too, where, man, I know what I want you to say, and I know you've said it before, but they're just not saying it. That's okay too. Then that's not for you. Then you know what I mean. You tried, you honored your intention, And if it didn't show up, well, that's just saying something else is going to fill that space, fill that what you perceive as a missing link.
Exactly. Get them relaxed. I remember reading about a guy who was shooting a film, I think, in like a post office. And so he went in with his camera. This is 35 millimeter shooting years ago. He put his camera up, no film, turned it on. Everybody was poised and, looking at the camera. They weren't natural. And so this went on for 2 days. The third day, they were so relaxed, he put the film in the camera and then shot it. Okay. And then by then they turned the camera off in their mind. And this you have to reduce down to a 40-minute interview and give the first 5 minutes to get them comfortable with you, just like Michael's saying. I think that's a key to get to the heart of the matter, right? That's what you want.
Absolutely. And if you're genuinely interested, if you're talking to them, you're genuinely interested in what you have to say. And so, really just like, it's a process of exploration, because more often than not, I get things I never imagined my subject would say, and I couldn't have possibly prepared for, but I still prepared for it. And so I feel like it was the preparation that made that possible. And so they'll feel your intention to sincerely listen. And that's another big thing I'll say in interviews too, is practice listening. Slow down, listen. Maybe don't rush to get through your questions. You're on video now. You're not working on 35 millimeter anymore. So if this interview runs a little long, it's okay. Listen. They may take you somewhere you never imagined they were gonna take you.
Yes, I've seen films totally switch overnight from an interview when they say, and by the way, and there's a whole new thread to your film, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, great. I think that's really important to know what your plan is.
From the Heart helps filmmakers get their projects funded. We are a nonprofit that supports and educates filmmakers on funding films that are unique and make a contribution to society. I am reading a real Google review from Cinda Jackson. Sometimes people get it right. From the Heart Productions with their Roy W. Dean Film Grant is a great example of this phenomenon. The growth and progress of this nonprofit is beyond inspiring. Led by innovator Carol Dean, this organization has embraced and championed what diversity is all about. I have seen their mission in action, their dedication to helping filmmakers complete projects and get them in front of audiences. From films exposing politically driven corruption and human atrocities, to cultural and social inequities, to the recent Emmy Award-winning Maya, A Dancer's Journey, they not only lift the veil on hidden injustices, they leave us illuminated with hope. For over 25 years, the Roy Dean Grant-winning films have garnered awards and truly made a positive impact on our world. Congratulations to the passionate independent filmmakers and kudos to Carol Dean and From the Heart Productions. Thanks for your review, Cinda Jackson. It's appreciated. So a message to all you filmmakers out there. If you have a project that needs help funding, just scan the QR code and learn more.
From the Heart helps filmmakers get their projects funded. We are a nonprofit that supports and educates filmmakers on funding films that are unique and make a contribution to society. I am reading a real Google review from Amy Turner. From the Heart Productions offers film grants, fiscal sponsorship, film funding courses, private consulting, and a fundraising platform to filmmakers who want to get their films made. From the Heart awards 3 Roy W. Dean film grants per year, which include a ton of film services for pre-production, production, and post, so the grant winner has the resources to get his or her project completed. This nonprofit is truly focused on helping filmmakers obtain funding for their unique and original films. Helpful and friendly, Carol Dean and the From the Heart team are truly dedicated to filmmakers' success. Thanks for your review, Amy Turner. It's appreciated. So a message to all you filmmakers out there. If you have a project that needs help funding, just scan the QR code and learn more.